Welcome to Scriptural Snapshots, brought to you by Living Faith Ministries in Kaiser, West Virginia, where we bring the living Word of God into your life. I'm Pastor Gordon Brubaker. We're looking at a word of the Lord that God gave to us on a Tuesday, December the 6th. December the 9th of last year, and it was a word about 2026. And I want to go into more detail with you on this. I said yesterday, I believe that 2026 is a prophetic year, meaning that we're going to see a lot of things come to the surface. We're going to see a lot of things being exposed, good and bad, but we're going to see, we're in the middle of a shift. We're in the middle of a transition. And you can see that with the murder of Charlie Kirk. You can see it in one of the largest biblical Christian college in America won a lawsuit last year that the Biden administration had brought to shut them down. And they accused them of falsifying their advertising and stuff like this. And the court said, they really didn't do anything wrong, and the lawsuit was not just dropped, but they were found to be innocent of all charges. And this is part of the war that's going on against the church and against biblical morals and biblical standards. And we call it the Judeo-Christian morals and values, and there's a war in the world against it. You've heard of anti-Semitism, but I don't know how to say this easily. There's a lot of background to this, but I just want to say this. I want to say it boldly. I want to say it to you. Christians are Jews who believe in the Messiah. The root, the base of Christianity is in Judaism. We cannot refute that. We cannot deny it. We cannot run away from it. And yet many in the church are not wanting to be identified with Jews. We're not wanting to be identified with Israel. And we're running away from our own heritage. And what we're doing is we're betraying God. Now, every Jew isn't right. Paul warns us and tells us that every Jew is not a true Jew because a Jew is a Jew in his heart. What does that mean? Well, it means a true Jew believes in God. You know, there's a lot of cultural Jews, just like there's a lot of cultural Christians. There's a lot of cultural Muslims that really don't believe in Islam, but they've been brought up according to those rules, and they just kind of live that way and work that way and operate that way. But if you ask them what they believe, they really have no clue because it's just their culture. Well, there's a lot of Jews like that they follow, well, a lot of them anymore don't even follow Jewish customs and Jewish beliefs, but they're considered Jews just because of their historical lineage. In the same way, there's a lot of Christians that call themselves Christians that are cultural Christians. In other words, they've adapted the basic rules of Christianity of how to live, not to lie, cheat, steal, cuss, spit, chew, smoke, drink. You know, there's a lot of Christians that do cuss and smoke and drink and get drunk and everything else like that, and they still call themselves Christians. Well, I call those cultural Christians. They're Christians because they were raised in a, quote, Christian country, but if you look at how America is being run today, you'd have to question whether we're a Christian country. Now, don't get mad at me on that, because President Obama said the United States is not a Christian nation. And I didn't like it when he said it, but the more I thought about it, it's probably pretty true. We're not a Christian nation. And why aren't we a Christian nation anymore? Because we're not following the Christian rule book. We're not following the Bible. Now, I'm not talking about a theocracy. I'm not talking about the church running the state, but I'm talking about biblical morals and values being implemented on a national level to where you don't have fraud, you don't have liars in office, you don't have people misrepresenting, you don't have people scheming the system, you have honesty, openness, truth, integrity in all areas of government. Wouldn't that be nice? Well, the only place you get that is if you follow Judeo-Christian standards and values. You don't get that from the world because the world does cheat, they do lie, they do curse, they do swear, they take advantage of people. Every time there's a war, it's because somebody is trying to even in the church, we're trying to force Christianity on somebody, and Christianity is a voluntary thing. God doesn't force you to be saved. And so the church shouldn't force people to be saved and conform to our values, but we can teach them, and we can guide them, and we can lead them, because it'll create a prosperous nation, which creates a prosperous and safe life. It's the best way to live. And if you compare Christianity with every other or any other religion in the world, then you find that Christian values are superior to those, because this is who we are. You know, God is not a man that he should lie. And so when we conform ourselves to the pattern of Jesus, the pattern of God, we find ourselves in a Christian nation, because we are Christians and we are influencing the nation. This is what God's calling us into in 2026. He's calling us to elevate our level of Christian living and Christian standards to where we once again begin to bring those standards into a national level. I'm Pastor Gordon Brubaker. God bless you.